Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we are not talking about chatbots.
No.
We are cutting through all the noise, the hype that defines the current AI landscape. We're focusing on one single, utterly critical benchmark.
The Agentblazer Champion status.
Exactly. For way too long, the industry has just treated AI implementation like it's a feature parade.
Right.
We're saying stop.
Exactly. This isn't about bragging rights. It's not some vanity badge you put on your profile for fun.
No.
If you are a professional and you're serious about the agentic enterprise, which is the new operating model for digital labor, this foundational level is mandatory.
It's the gatekeeper.
It is the architectural gatekeeper, full stop.
And if you don't master the foundations this status validates, I'm talking about the data structures, the security protocols, the reasoning engine, your AI projects will not just fail.
Oh, they'll do worse than fail.
They will actively generate what we're calling work slop.
Work slop. It's the perfect term for it.
They create chaos, they erode trust, and they actively consume your resources instead of freeing them up.
And that's the nightmare scenario, isn't it? The low-quality, completely unreliable AI output that then needs intensive, expensive human auditing to fix.
Right.
The Champion curriculum isn't just designed to teach you how to build agents. It's designed to teach you how to build them securely, reliably. It's risk mitigation first.
So our mission today is to unpack this champion level, in forensic detail.
We have to.
We're defining the new baseline for technical credibility in this space.
Well,
We need to dissect the required mastery of Data Cloud, the Einstein Trust Layer, and the Atlas Reasoning Engine.
and this is not entry-level fluff.
No, this is the definitive architectural blueprint for executing reliable, secure digital labor at scale.
So let's get into it.
Okay, let's start with definitions. The language around AI is so often just, it's misleading.
It is.
So why are we talking strictly about agents and not just generative AI or the increasingly obsolete term chatbots?
It's the execution model. That's
Yeah.
the difference. Generative AI is a prediction machine. You put text in, it predicts the most likely next word, and you get text out. It's sophisticated, sure, but it's fundamentally reactive.
Right.
Agentic AI, though, is defined by two words, and these are the critical ones: reasoning and action.
So it's moving way beyond simple retrieval.
Precisely. An agent has to understand the natural language intent of a really high-level goal, not just keywords. And then it has to autonomously decide the most logical, multi-step sequence to get to that outcome. And then, and this is the key, it has to execute code or workflows across the platform.
Potentially involving external systems.
Right. It moves from just retrieving information to actively performing tasks.
So the chatbot waits for a human to type something. It pulls some static data, and it formats the response.
Yep.
The agent, on the other hand, can kick off a process entirely on its own, based on program goals or non-human triggers.
Think about the operational difference there. A chatbot handles a customer query. An autonomous agent, though, could be triggered by, say, an anomaly it detects in a sensor data stream. It could then autonomously analyze the customer record tied to that sensor, create a proactive service case, and then notify a field tech.
All with zero human intervention.
Zero. That is a massive, massive leap in platform complexity.
And that complexity,
Yeah.
that must be why we're seeing this complete structural shift in the platform itself.
Absolutely.
The sources emphasize that Salesforce has moved from its traditional cloud and app focus to what's effectively an 11-layer architecture.
11 layers.
That's not an update. That is a fundamental break from the old 7-layer IT model we've all relied on for decades. Why do we suddenly need 4 extra layers?
Because we're moving from deterministic programming,
If this, then that.
right, to probabilistic decision-making. The old 7-layer model was built for fixed business logic. This new 11-layer architecture, it has to support the entire reasoning stack.
From the ground up.
From data ingestion and security all the way up to action orchestration and continuous monitoring. You need dedicated layers for grounding, for trust, for planning, because the core transaction is no longer fixed. It's dynamic.
Okay, so let's nail the coffin shut on traditional automation. We're calling it automation obsolescence.
Good.
Your traditional rigid flow script breaks the moment it hits an exception. A variable changes, a record's missing, the customer goes off script.
And the process just stalls. It dies.
It stalls.
And that's where the cost comes in, right? Human intervention to untangle the mess. Autonomous agents don't rely on that fixed, pre-written path.
They're outcome-driven.
They are outcome-driven. They focus on the final destination. So if one specific action fails, the Atlas Reasoning Engine is designed to plan a new, alternate sequence of steps to get to the original goal.
That adaptability.
That's it. That adaptability is why rigid flow scripting, while it's still a necessary tool in the toolbox.
As an action.
As an action, right.
Yeah.
But it can no longer define your enterprise automation strategy.
So the champion has to get this pivot. They're not just automating flows anymore. They're providing tools and high-level instructions so the agent can reason its way through complexity.
Yeah, they're treating the platform like a toolkit, not a rigid script.
Now, Salesforce is pushing Agentforce hard. They're citing this global labor shortage, saying digital labor needs to fill the gaps. But let's be the informed skeptics here. Robert Sussman noted that adoption has been, well, unremarkable in a lot of sectors.
Right.
And it's because of these deep corporate concerns about reliability, maturity, and especially these unclear consumption-based pricing models. We had to cut through the hype.
The skepticism is absolutely well-founded. But the core issue here, the thing that's really preventing successful adoption, it's not the technology's potential.
What is it?
It's the skills deficit in the workforce.
Wow.
Look at the numbers. AI adoption is spiking up 282%, but the people who are tasked with implementing these systems are often operating with a skill set whose half-life is just shrinking dramatically.
So you have enterprises trying to implement, 2026 technology with 2020 skills?
That's exactly it, and that creates an immediate operational crisis.
And the risk isn't just that adoption is slow, it's the creation of this large-scale work slop.
Yes.
If the agent is poorly configured, if the data is fragmented, governance fails. The AI output is just inconsistent. It's a liability.
Instead of augmenting your workforce, you've just generated a new, expensive problem that requires constant human cleanup.
Yes.
And the champion level is the direct architectural countermeasure to that liability. It forces this baseline understanding. It transforms the professional into an informed skeptic who can actually implement real guardrails.
And that means mastering the technical responses to the three great risks of agentic AI.
The big three.
First, AI hallucination. The agent just invents facts and presents them with total confidence.
Second, the really severe implications of algorithmic bias. Unfair, discriminatory outcomes that come from skewed data.
And third, the crisis of data governance, specifically for these non-deterministic systems. How do you audit something that decides its own steps?
See, the market view often treats AI like it's magic, like it's a black box that just spits out answers.
Fed by some outside LM.
Right. The champion certification just dismantles that myth completely. It confirms the reality. Successful, reliable enterprise AI is the result of precise data engineering and rigorous trust architecture.
So if you, as the professional, don't understand how ROG works under the hood, or how data masking protects PII, or how the reasoning engine picks its tools,
You're not implementing AI. You're experimenting with corporate data. And that is an unacceptable risk profile.
that ignorance is precisely what the champion status is designed to eliminate.
Exactly. It confirms you understand that AI success is about the data you feed it and the guardrails you build around it, not just the size of the language model you're paying for.
The focus shifts from the algorithm to the governance architecture.
Sure.
So if champion status is this architectural foundation, we have to spend some real time dissecting the core components.
We have to.
We need to move beyond just concepts and get into the foundational tech stack itself.
Yes, because the three mandatory pillars, Data Cloud, the Einstein Trust Layer, and the Atlas Reasoning Engine, they are functionally inseparable.
You can't have one without the others.
Trying to build a secure, effective agent without mastering all three is it's like trying to build a skyscraper without the blueprints for the foundation. It's doomed. So pillar one, Data Cloud. The central, non-negotiable mandate of the champion level is this principle. An agent is only as good as the data it is based on.
It all comes back to the data.
It always does. This means mastering Data Cloud, the platform's unified data fabric. Fragmented, siloed data is the single biggest architectural threat to agent success. It leads directly to unreliable outputs.
So step one is solving the decades-old data integration problem. But now there's the added pressure of live AI execution.
Exactly.
What are the specific data cloud requirements that validate this champion status?
The first one is mastery of Data 360. A champion has to understand the technical process of creating that unified customer profile.
And this isn't just about data ingestion.
No, it's massive harmonization. Data has to be mapped from all these disparate sources, ERPs, service systems, marketing clouds, to the cloud information model, the CIM.
Let's pause on CIM for a second, because that can be an abstract term. Why is it so non-negotiable?
The CIM is the standardization layer. It's the Rosetta Stone. It dictates how raw data points are categorized and named across every single connected system.
So customer name from system A.
And client ID from system B, and account holder from system C.
Right.
They all map to the same field with the same definition. Without that common schema, the agent cannot reliably connect the dots.
Okay.
So the champion has to be able to configure the CIM mapping and the identity resolution rules needed to fuse all those duplicate records into one single authoritative source of truth.
And that unified clean 360 view is what stops the agent from, say, pulling conflicting order histories or confusing two customers with the same name. But what happens once the data is unified? That's where RAG comes in, right? Retrieval-Augmented Generation.
That is the critical pivot point. This unified data then feeds RAG. And the champion has to understand RAG operationally, not just conceptually.
How does it work in practice?
When a user asks a question, the agent's first move is to retrieve relevant, verifiable context, the grounding information, from Data Cloud.
Okay.
Only then does it pass the user's prompt and the retrieved grounding data to the LLM to formulate the response.
So RA acts like a fact checker before the LLM can even speak.
It acts like a leash. This grounding step anchors the response solely in verifiable enterprise data. It's the technical defense against hallucination.
Which is when the LLM just makes stuff up based on its public training data.
Exactly, and that is completely unacceptable for an enterprise transaction. Without RAG, you're just guessing.
So a champion doesn't just know about RAG. They understand that Data Cloud is the architectural precondition that makes RAG function securely and reliably inside the firewall.
Absolutely, and it gets more complex. True service agents need to interpret vast amounts of unstructured content.
Product manuals, warranty policies, legal PDFs.
Right. This requires the champion to master handling unstructured data. This data has to be pre-processed and then vectorial indexed within Data Cloud.
Okay, what does vectorially indexed mean in practice for the professional building this?
It means converting all that text into numerical embeddings. Basically, mathematical patterns that represent the semantic meaning of the content, not just the keywords.
So it understands concepts, not just words.
Precisely. This enables these really sophisticated semantic searches. If a customer asks, "What's the return policy for damaged goods if I paid with PayPal?" the agent uses the vector index to find all the conceptually related documents, even if none of them contain that exact phrase.
That capability is non-negotiable for any agent that has to do more than just query structured records.
And we've seen this with organizations like Good 360, the disaster relief charity. The lesson there is that the competitive advantage is built on the data layer. Their unified, well-organized data foundation was the key to building their resource matching agent 3 times faster than before.
So the champion understands. Implementation is 80% data readiness, 20% agent configuration.
If that.
Okay, we've grounded the agent in good data. Pillar 2. Now we face the ultimate security question, trust. It's often this vague corporate value, but in AI, it's a very specific technical capability. How does champion status validate that a professional can actually secure these autonomous interactions in regulated environments?
Trust is operationalized by the Einstein Trust Layer. This isn't philosophical, it's architectural.
Right.
And the champion can't just understand it conceptually. They have to grasp the technical configuration of 5 key real-time mechanisms that are designed to intercept, audit, and protect data as it moves between the corporate firewall and a third-party LLM.
Okay, let's break each one down, because these are the points that determine whether a company can meet compliance, like IPA or GDPR.
First, and maybe the most vital for privacy, is data masking.
Okay.
The champion must know how to configure the PII replacement process. This means identifying and replacing sensitive information, SSNs, credit card numbers, health details, with generic, non-reversible tokens before that data ever leaves the secure corporate boundary.
So the LLM never sees the real data, it just sees tokens like credit card NA or SSNX.
Right. This prevents sensitive data exposure, but it preserves the structure and the context the LLM needs for the transaction.
What's the complexity there?
The complexity is making sure context is maintained while the identity is obfuscated. The champion has to understand the specific tokenization techniques and the validation process to make sure the LLM doesn't try to, re-engineer the original PII.
Failure to mask properly is a guaranteed compliance disaster.
Catastrophic. The second mechanism is toxicity detection. This needs a dual scan configuration. It checks both the user's input for harmful prompts and the agent's proposed output for any offensive or biased language. The champion has to know how to navigate the audit logs to track potential abuse, like prompt injection attacks.
Where a user tries to trick the agent into overriding its own instructions.
Exactly. Third is the absolute commercial requirement: zero data retention.
Non-negotiable.
It is the contractual and technical guarantee. The champion has to understand the mechanisms that ensure the LLM vendor does not store, use, or reuse the enterprise's private data for training or anything else. For a big, regulated company, this is often the go-no-go decision.
The fourth point deals with internal security boundaries, secure retrieval and dynamic grounding.
This is all about permissions. The agent is a service account, but it has to inherit the security permissions of the user making the request.
Oh, okay.
The champion configures the dynamic grounding to ensure the agent only retrieves and uses data that that individual human user is authorized to see.
So a junior employee's request won't pull data from the executive dashboard.
It can't. It maintains the platform's security boundaries.
And finally, the indispensable requirement for any enterprise, the audit trail.
You have to be able to prove what happened. The champion has to be a master of these comprehensive audit logs.
What's in them?
Everything. The original prompt, the data cloud query that was executed, the exact knowledge articles that were accessed, the specific LLM response, and any action that was taken. This traceability is absolutely critical for demonstrating compliance.
So the trust layer moves security from a vague concept to a measurable, configurable, and auditable architecture.
One that the champion professional must be able to implement flawlessly.
Okay, we've built the guardrails, we've unified the data, now we get to the core of autonomy. Pillar 3, the Atlas reasoning engines.
The brain.
This is the brain. This is what lets these systems move beyond those simple, brittle flow scripts. What does the champion need to grasp about how Atlas actually works internally?
Atlas is the strategic planner. It is not a static decision tree. It's an agile, multi-step orchestrator. And champion status requires a deep understanding of its core four-step process for autonomous execution. This is where the magic happens.
Walk us through it. From a complex human request to the final action.
Okay, it starts with evaluation. Atlas analyzes the user's input, not just the words, but the deep underlying intent. What is the final goal they're trying to achieve?
Like, I need to get my refund processed.
Exactly. Then comes planning. Atlas breaks that high-level request down into a logical multi-step sequence. Step 1, verify customer identity. Step 2, query the order status. Step 3, check refund eligibility rules. Step 4, execute the refund flow.
And this planning stage is the adaptability layer if step 1 fails.
Atlas doesn't stop. It attempts to create a new plan, maybe asking for 2 other pieces of data for verification before it continues. The plan is fluid. The third step is tool selection. For each of those plan steps, Atlas identifies precisely which available action it needs to execute. This could be calling a specific flow, running an Apex class, or performing a data query.
The agent doesn't write the code, it just selects the right tool for the job.
It does. And then finally, it moves to execution, running those chosen tools.
The technical implication here is that the role of the professional just completely pivots.
It's a total pivot. It is no longer about scripting the entire conversation or the transaction flow. That's obsolete.
So what is the role now?
The role shifts from being a detailed coder to being a systems orchestrator. The champion's job is now to provide the agent with 2 things: the reusable tools, the Apex, the flows, the queries, and the high-level constraint-defined instructions or prompts that define its mission.
And then Atlas autonomously orchestrates the solution from there.
Yes. If a professional tries to treat the agent like a slightly smarter flow engine, they fail to unlock true autonomous planning. And that leads you right back to work slop.
Understanding the architecture is the mandate. But enterprise execution requires tactical wisdom.
It does.
The champion level culminates in building that first agent. So we need to give leaders some tactical advice. Where to start, and maybe more importantly, where not to make costly mistakes.
And we have to learn from the hard-earned lessons that are already out there, especially the platform's own internal mistakes.
Right.
The primary lesson for any organization is this: start small, scale fast, but govern tightly. The biggest risk isn't that you won't build agents. The risk is what Salesforce experienced internally.
Agent sprawl.
Agent sprawl. Remind us of that internal error.
Well, Salesforce admitted to an early mistake in their own deployment. They created over 200 specialized agents performing 550 individual tasks.
It's a nightmare.
It led to massive fragmentation, high maintenance costs, and just total confusion. Employees didn't know which agent to ask for what. It was digital chaos.
So the solution was ruthless consolidation into these hero agents. And the champion learns this from day one. Quality over quantity. A unified, comprehensive experience over fragmented, narrow tools.
The architectural lesson is simplification. Look at the travel platform engine.
Good example.
They initially created dozens of narrow topics, separate agents for cancellations, for upgrades, for adding a driver.
And this just confused the reasoning engine because the topics overlapped. The agent spent way too much time trying to decide which script to follow.
So what was their solution?
They simplified. They put things under broader, more coherent categories, like just car management. This reduction in choice enabled faster, smarter decisions because the agent wasn't second-guessing its tool selection.
So the champion has to design the knowledge base and the action topics broadly and logically from the start.
Yes. And now contrast that fragmented approach with the success of, indeed, the jobs marketplace.
Right.
They focused their initial deployment on an extremely focused, high-value problem, instantly spotting issues with employer job postings.
Missing salary info, broken links.
Exactly. And then adjusting real-time fixes. That is textbook strategic implementation. Indeed's approach generated immediate credibility-building wins that were tied to a specific business goal.
Reducing employer hiring time by 50%.
A massive win. The champion has to have the business acumen to identify that strategic starting point. Low complexity, high frequency, and most importantly, focused, measurable impact.
So agent execution has to be tied to measurable, tangible outcomes.
It has to be. Whether it's that 50% resolution rate for routine inquiries at 1-800-ACCOUNTANT or the clinical impact of a service like Prasina, which saw patient A1C levels drop 3 times faster in a pilot program.
By automating patient follow-up?
If you can't measure the value, the agent is just sprawl.
Okay, so the ultimate goal is this dual dividend empowered people and delighted customers.
Right.
But getting there requires flawless decision control and handoffs. And that means moving beyond this passive idea of human in the loop.
We have to abandon that passive narrative. Human in the loop implies the human is just an occasional validator. The new paradigm, which the champion status validates, is human at the helm.
Human at the helm. I like that.
The professional has to actively define and configure the precise boundaries for escalation and for decision control.
So what are those specific boundaries the champion has to configure? Give us the criteria.
The champion has to define exactly when complexity, high stakes, the need for deep human empathy, or time-sensitive legal requirements demand a transfer of control.
So if the agent detects an emotional tone in the text,
or if a transaction exceeds a certain monetary value, or if the reasoning requires data sources the agent can't access, the transfer has to be instantaneous and precise.
and this handoff has to be flawless to deliver on that dual dividend.
It has to be.
Because the biggest waste of a human expert's time is forcing them to reconstruct the entire conversation history.
That's the work slop we have to avoid. The agent must execute a complete, pre-formatted case summary and provide its preliminary analysis. It has to hand the human every single piece of context it gathered.
The user's profile, the data records it retrieved, the actions it already tried.
And the reasoning behind its decision to escalate. This lets the human, like the CPAs at 1-800-ACCOUNTANT, immediately focus on the complex, strategic problem, the heart, instead of wasting 20 minutes on information gathering, the head.
That division of labor is key.
It is. Agents handle the head. Routine data, rules, common inquiries. Humans handle the heart. Strategic relationships, complex exceptions, and empathy. The champion's job is to ensure the technical framework supports that philosophical division. If the handoff is slow or incomplete, the dual dividend just evaporates.
Launching the agent is just the configuration phase. The real work and the ongoing requirement for a champion is monitoring, tuning, and iteration.
Oh, absolutely. Autonomous systems degrade, and they degrade fast if you leave them unsupervised.
They operate in live, dynamic data environments.
They do. And the champion has to master that 5-phase life cycle Salesforce uses internally. Ideate, configure, test, deploy, and supervise.
And that testing phase has to be rigorous.
Yeah.
We're not talking about simple unit testing.
No. You need a dedicated testing center environment to ensure that updates don't introduce new errors or cross-topic flaws across that complex web of actions.
Now, measurement. If we're focused on business outcomes, what are the measurement imperatives? We can't just track how many conversations the agent handles.
No, that's an activity metric. That's not an outcome.
So what do we measure?
We must measure outcomes tied directly to strategic business goals. Salesforce recommends categorizing the impact around 3 goals: simplify, scale, and grow.
Okay, let's detail the outcome metrics for each, using the sources for proof.
For Simplify, you're measuring the reduction of complexity and the increase in satisfaction. So that 85% resolution rate on Salesforce's own help site agent, that is a massive simplification achievement. For Scale, you're capturing efficiency gains and increased capacity. One 800 accountant resolving 50% of routine inquiries is a perfect illustration of successful scale.
And Grow.
And Grow captures tangible business outcomes and revenue impact, like Persina dropping patient A1C levels 3 times faster in their pilot. That's a health outcome tied directly to business success.
Finally, the champion's critical, ongoing role in maintaining data quality after launch.
Yes.
The agent is constantly consuming new data, and if that data gets messy, the agent gets confused, and the work slop comes right back.
The professional has to actively manage data quality and specifically dedicate resources to identifying content collisions.
What's a content collision?
It's when multiple knowledge sources say an outdated policy document and a new FAQ on the same topic contradict each other.
Ah.
Content collisions lead directly to confused agents, unreliable answers, and an immediate loss of user trust. The champion is responsible for implementing and monitoring metrics that flag these internal data conflicts for immediate remediation.
Let's talk professional architecture. This knowledge isn't optional for people who want to lead. It is structural.
It is.
We need clear, high-stakes guidance. Who must achieve this foundational Agentblazer Champion status immediately? And who can realistically afford to ignore it?
Okay, let's be direct. Ignore it if you are satisfied staying in a legacy siloed role. If you're committed purely to deterministic automation or you plan to avoid platform evolution entirely,
Your career path will be capped.
immediately capped.
Care if you're a CRM professional, a platform admin, an architect, a developer, or a consulting leader. Anyone who intends to define or build business logic on the platform moving forward must care.
The champion status is the architectural baseline. It is the mandatory prerequisite. Let's just look at the career path.
You have to.
Champion is the foundation. That's the only path to Innovator, which is implementing solutions, which then leads to Legend designing complex strategies and earning the final Agentforce certification. If you skip Champion, you cannot progress. You can't even get to Innovator status, which requires you to implement these solutions and prove business outcomes. The Champion level acts as the structural gatekeeper.
And it validates these essential new skills: advanced prompt engineering, ethical decision-making,
Anticipating unintended consequences.
and the integration of flow automation with complex agent orchestration. It validates that the professional is an informed skeptic who can bridge the gap between abstract AI theory and tangible business practice.
It validates that you can build autonomous digital workforces that actually deliver.
Let's talk dollars and cents. Why does achieving this status matter right now? Why should a professional invest the 6 to 10 hours in this specific training?
Because the entire commercial future of the platform hinges on this transition.
The stakes couldn't be higher.
They couldn't. Salesforce's commercial existence depends on this pivot. I mean, Mark Benioff said it himself, unequivocally. Everything needs to become about Agentforce at Salesforce. This is the only thing that really matters today.
So the company is reinventing itself as an AI company.
They have to, because as analysts like Robert Sozman noted, the core CRM foundation is increasingly easy for competitors to replicate. If they fail on AI, they die.
And that harsh commercial reality trickles directly down to the professional's value.
It does.
Salesforce is moving to a consumption-based pricing model for Agentforce. Customers are going to pay per interaction, per conversation, not per seat.
And this fundamentally changes the professional's value equation. The agents must deliver undeniable, measurable ROI, or the consumption won't happen.
Right.
So the professionals who master Agentforce, starting with the champion's foundations in governance, data, and trust, they'll be the catalysts of corporate adoption.
They're the only ones who can build the reliable, secure agents that drive the necessary value in this new pricing model.
Mastery here translates directly into career stability and a massive competitive advantage over the next 5 years.
So the Agentblazer Champion level provides the comprehensive architectural blueprint for today's agentic enterprise.
It does.
But architecture evolves. We have to look ahead at what this foundation enables next.
This champion foundation is paving the way for the next stage, which is Enterprise General Intelligence, or EGI.
And this isn't the sci-fi version of AGI.
No, this is a practical, business-focused definition. Reliable, adaptive, autonomous AI systems, custom-built for the enterprise that prioritize consistency, auditability, and measurable capability.
And this EGI readiness rests directly on the skills validated at the champion level.
Yeah.
Grounding, trust, orchestration.
Exactly.
So what are the most provocative, near-term trends that a champion professional is now uniquely positioned to implement?
I see two major trends defining the next frontier. First, agent-to-agent ecosystems, A2A.
Okay.
We're already moving toward orchestrated environments where specialized AI agents collaborate not just inside an organization, but across organizational boundaries.
So your sales agent could autonomously negotiate with a vendor's procurement agent?
That's the third stage of agent evolution, autonomous business orchestration. Second, the dissolving boundary between digital and physical AI.
Digital-physical convergence.
Yes. The same reasoning engines, the same Atlas planning layer, are extending to orchestrate robotics and physical assets. We saw that example of Salesforce in Boston Dynamics.
Agentforce dispatching robots to autonomously inspect pressure gauges in a factory.
And then updating field service work orders based on visual input. The champion professional who has mastered data grounding and action orchestration is the only person qualified to manage that kind of complex multimodal system.
So this transformation isn't speculative. It's happening now through what you call boring breakthroughs.
The foundational work in data and trust.
So the final challenge for every serious professional listening is this. The transformation to the agentic enterprise is happening. It's unfolding through this champion curriculum. The question isn't whether the platform will change.
It's whether you will lead that change or follow it.
EGI readiness starts with validating this champion foundation, mastering the trust layer, unifying the data cloud, and understanding the Atlas reasoning engine.
That is the new baseline for technical relevance. The organization that will thrive will be the ones that understand AI isn't just about subscribing to a model. It's about reimagining how humans and machines can work together to achieve what neither could do alone. The champions are the architects of that future.
This deep dive only scratches the surface of the architectural shifts happening in CRM and AI platforms. To stay ahead of the curve, to hear complex topics broken down without the marketing hype, and to truly understand the real state of the art, you need to be with us.
Subscribe to the CRM Position Deep Dive for continuous executive-level insight into the core changes defining our industry. We cut through the noise so you can lead the strategic decisions.